Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles DeBanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. So, you guys know recently Ryan Clark got let go from FS1, from ESPN, Cam Newton, and a whole bunch of other people. But funny enough, I just heard that Tim Tebow was one of the people that actually survived and got a multi-year deal. Obviously, Malika Andrews survived. Some people speculated that Stephen A. Smith would be gone. I'm like, I don't see that happening at all. But we saw that, right? But one person decided to weigh in on it today, and that person was someone that actually used to work at ESPN, funny enough. And his name is Skip Bayless. And by the way, full disclosure, we did a show yesterday where I said that I wouldn't be surprised if Skip Bayless returns back to work at ESPN First Take, given the success of his latest appearance on the show where they had a 24% bump in ratings. So I just saw this video on my feed. It says, I don't know because I didn't play. Here's why that is so wrong. So as you guys know, Ryan Clark, according to reports, the reason that he was let go of the final nail of the final straw of the camel's back was that the exchange that he had with Peter Schrager, where he essentially said, I played, you didn't play, so take a step back. And then Peter began to defend himself and all of that. And I guess the network said to themselves, look, we can't have this. You're undermining our decisions. You're saying that we don't know how to hire the right people and all of that, right? So many people speculated that that's the reason why they let him go. Well, Skip Bayless decided to respond to that entire talking point of you didn't play, so therefore you don't know what you're talking about. Take a listen to Skip here.
You don't know because you didn't play. How many times have I heard that in my career? I'm here to say I doubt anybody out there in sports media has debated more ex-star athletes on live TV or live digital than I have in my career. And I'm pretty sure that nobody out there in sports media, nobody has even come close to experiencing how many times I was told to my face on live television, live digital, you don't know because you didn't play. This has been a flashpoint this week because my friend Ryan Clark was let go at ESPN, as you well know, and a flashpoint reportedly of that dismissal was the incident in which Ryan Clark on live television on ESPN told Peter Schrager something to the point of, you don't know because you didn't play. I'm a big fan of Ryan Clark's. We had him on First Take. This is way before Stephen A. But we had him on First Take while he was still playing for Pittsburgh Steelers. And after the morning meeting, I knew he was going to be good. And after that show that we had him on that day, I thought he was going to be great. And I told my superiors at ESPN that day, this is going way back. I think he still had 3 more years of playing. It was during the offseason, obviously. And I told the people at ESPN, Ryan Clark's going to be an even bigger star in sports media than he was and is at that point on the football field. So I'm certainly not criticizing Ryan Clark here. I'm just telling you my experience with this dismissal of me that you don't know because you didn't play. I first heard this, I think it was 1978. I just come to Dallas as a 25-year-old sports columnist of the Dallas Morning News, lead sports columnist at 25. And I happened to do a live radio show. It was at a mall, I think, in Dallas. Charlie Waters, the all-pro safety for the Dallas Cowboys, and I were sharing the stage that night with whoever the moderator, I think it was Frank Gleber was the moderator, and Charlie challenged me on air. Did you play high school football? No, I didn't. I played basketball and I played baseball. That was my best sport. Well, then you can't know football because you didn't play. And maybe at that point he was somewhat right, because I was still a novice at learning football, but then I learned a whole lot of football. And over these many years, this is what I learned about all those ex-star athletes I have debated on live television and internet. I learned that oftentimes the better the player, the less feel they had for who can play the game and why. I give you my all-time favorite athlete in any sport. Michael Jeffrey Jordan proved to be the worst GM, team builder in the history of the National Basketball Association. The worst. So it's possible Michael didn't know, because he did play at the highest level, the single highest level.
Perfect. So you heard what Skip had to say. What are my thoughts about this? Look, you run up against this, right? Even in the independent space, you hear where people say, "Hey, man, you don't know what you're talking about," especially when you're disagreeing with something that like a player said or a former player said. "Oh, you didn't play, so how would you know?" All of these different kind of things, right? So this gets thrown out a lot. And look, it is true that you're not going to understand the game the way a professional athlete did because you didn't play it. You're not going to understand it from that standpoint, right? They have a wealth of knowledge that you just can't have. And I think those that were really good have a treasure trove of information that you may not have, that you don't have as someone who never played at that level. But that being said, though, it doesn't mean you can't comment on the sport, number one. And number two, it doesn't mean that just because they played, everything they say is right and everything you say is wrong when you're speaking to them if they disagree with you. And the proof I have for that is I've seen many occasions where I've disagreed with a basketball player on a topic, and that basketball player said I've said I was wrong, but I've heard many other basketball players agree with me. So then how do you explain that? I may not know much, but some of the points that I'm making, some other players themselves have agreed with me. So am I just doing that by luck, by chance, or do I really understand the game as an observer? That's number one. Number two, he brought up the point of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan being the greatest NBA player ever, but was a lousy evaluator of talent. So just because you played at a high level and you played the sport, it doesn't mean you know all facets of it. That's the point that Skip Bayless was making. I don't think it was necessarily like trying to say that Ryan Clark was like he was using that now I got you moment, but it was something that Ryan Clark said in the past, and it was something that Skip Bayless has battled all throughout his career. So I think he probably just used this as a moment to kind of use it as a teaching point. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave them in the comments. Catch you on the next show, and I'm out. Peace.